You've probably done at least 3 of the next 5 things today, and you didn't even notice. That's the strange part about it. It never feels like a choice in the moment. It just feels like being human. But here's the twist. Highly intelligent people aren't actually defined by what they know. They're defined by what they've quietly trained themselves to refuse. And once you hear these 5 habits, you're going to start spotting them everywhere. In your coworkers, your friends, and honestly, probably in yourself. Today, right now, let's get one thing straight before we go any further. Real intelligence was never about IQ scores or diplomas hanging on a wall. It shows up in how you think under pressure, how you talk to someone who disagrees with you, and how you handle the 50 tiny decisions you make before lunch. Researchers studying cognitive and behavioral patterns keep landing on the same finding. The people who consistently make wiser choices aren't doing more than everyone else. They've simply killed off a handful of habits that quietly drain judgment, and that's where this list begins. The first one might sting a little. Highly intelligent people almost never pretend to know something they don't. Think about the last time someone asked you a question you couldn't answer. Did you make something up on the spot? Did you give a vague answer that sounded smart, but actually said nothing? Most of us do exactly that, because admitting I don't know can feel like losing points in some invisible competition. Psychologists call the opposite instinct intellectual humility, and it's one of the strongest predictors of genuine intelligence there is. The smartest people you know aren't confident because they know everything. They're confident because they know precisely where their knowledge ends, and they're not afraid to say so out loud. The second habit is a little harder to swallow. Intelligent people don't fight to win every single argument. If you know someone who has to be right in every conversation, who turns disagreements into battles they cannot lose, you're not actually looking at intelligence. You're looking at insecurity wearing a very convincing mask. Genuinely sharp people pick their battles the way you'd spend money you can't earn back. They can tell within seconds whether a conversation is heading somewhere useful or is just two egos refusing to blink first, and they let the second kind go. Every time, without feeling like they've lost a thing. Here's where it gets a little uncomfortable to watch, because most of us do this constantly. In a world where you can watch one video, skim one article, and suddenly feel like you understand a subject, most people quietly confuse exposure with mastery. Psychologists have a name for the healthier version of this instinct: epistemic humility, knowing the real difference between hearing about something and actually understanding it. Intelligent people don't watch a single documentary on physics and then argue with an actual physicist. They stay permanent students, especially, in the subjects they already know the most about. The third habit lives inside your emotions, and it's more nuanced than it first sounds. Intelligent people are not cold, not robotic. They feel things just as deeply as you do, maybe more. What they don't do is let a passing emotional state make a permanent decision. When they're furious, they don't send that text. When they're euphoric, they don't sign anything on the spot. Neuroscientists call this response inhibition, that split-second pause between feeling something and acting on it. And it may be the single strongest predictor of sound judgment we have on record. That tiny pause, that's where wisdom actually lives. The fourth habit will probably surprise you the most, because it goes against how we're wired. Intelligent people don't surround themselves with people who agree with everything they say. We're built to crave comfort, validation, to gather people who see the world exactly like we do. Highly intelligent people override that instinct on purpose, because they understand something most people never learn. Growth cannot happen inside an echo chamber. Psychologist Carol Dweck calls this a growth mindset, the belief that intelligence isn't a fragile trophy you protect, but a living thing that gets stronger every time someone proves you wrong. And the fifth habit? This is the one that will hit closest to home for almost everyone watching right now. Intelligent people never confuse being busy with being productive. We live inside a culture that treats exhaustion like a trophy, where a packed calendar has somehow become proof of importance. But intelligent people know that 80 scattered hours accomplish less than 20 focused ones. Management thinker Peter Drucker put it more precisely than almost anyone. Efficiency is doing things right. Effectiveness is doing the right things. The smartest people you know often look like they're doing less, simply because they stopped mistaking motion for actual progress a long time ago. There's a quieter thread running underneath all 5 of these, and it's worth naming before we wrap up. Psychologists who study cognitive bias have found that our brains are wired to prefer certainty over accuracy. We'd rather reach a confident conclusion fast than sit in the discomfort of not knowing yet. Intelligent people fight that wiring on purpose. They'd rather hold an unfinished answer than defend a confidently wrong one, which is exactly why they often seem slower to form opinions. And yet, somehow, they end up right more often than everyone else. Put all 5 together, and a pattern starts to form. And it's a pattern worth sitting with. It isn't one dramatic trait that separates a reflective mind from a reactive one. It's 5 quiet refusals, repeated daily, until they slowly become identity. Refusing to fake knowledge you don't have. Refusing to fight for the sake of fighting. Refusing to let a feeling make a 5-year decision. Refusing the comfort of easy agreement. Refusing to call exhaustion an achievement. And here's the part that should feel like relief, not pressure. None of this requires a genius-level IQ or a diploma from an Ivy League wall. These are choices, sitting there, available to you, starting the moment this video ends. So don't spend the next few minutes asking yourself whether you're highly intelligent. Ask yourself something more useful instead. Which of these 5 habits are you still quietly practicing without realizing it? And what might your life actually look like the moment you finally let it go? If one of these 5 landed a little too close for comfort, tell us which one in the comments below. That's usually the one worth sitting with the longest. And if you've ever wondered why some people seem completely unbothered by other people's opinions, while everyone else spirals over a single bad comment, stay close. Because that's exactly what we're unpacking next.